Apparently, James Gunn and Peter Safran's DC is working on a, get this, Deathstroke and Bane movie. Now, we have heard about this before, but the whispers of it kind of came and they went like a fart in the wind. But make no mistake, it actually now looks like it is what they want to do. They are putting it together. And according to Deadline now, it looks like they may have found the director that they want for the film. Deadline wrote the following. Exclusive. We are hearing that Greg Mottola, who is already in the DC Studios family, having directed several episodes of Peacemaker, is a frontrunner to potentially direct the untitled Deathstroke and Bane feature film. There are others in the mix. Triple note that it's still very early days on the project. A script hasn't been officially greenlit yet, and no contracts have been prepared as the project remains in development. A word of a Deathstroke and Bane movie began in September of 2024 under the James Gunn and Peter Safran-led DC Studios. The initial screenplay reportedly was penned by Matthew Orton, who wrote for the Marvel Studios Disney Plus series Moon Knight. If Mottola ends up being the choice, Orton would likely do the rewrite for him. Now, he directed Superbad, which I know for a lot of film fans is in like their top 10 favorite comedies ever. He also wrote Adventureland, which was really popular with a lot. I wasn't the biggest fan of Adventureland, I got to admit myself, but almost everybody else I know completely loved it. And he's done stuff like that. Interesting choice. But the bigger thing here to me isn't even who they're looking at to directing it. And by the way, I think he'd be a pretty solid choice, especially if he's already worked with James Gunn and James Gunn already knows he has a shorthand with him and they can make something good out of it. Great. I'm still just kind of hung up on the idea that, wait a minute, that talk a couple of years ago about them doing a Deathstroke and Bane thing, that is something they're actually really serious about? And at first, my thought is, that doesn't sound like a good idea. But then I thought about how quickly I would run to my television or run to a movie theater if I found out a Deathstroke and Bane movie was playing, and how fast I would go see it, especially if you cast it right. By the way, casting that's going to be tricky. But, I mean, my God, maybe it's not, you know what? This wouldn't make Deadpool and Wolverine money.
No.
But you know what? It could make half of Deadpool and Wolverine's money. If you do something like this and you do it well and you make it really badass, this could be a $700 million film. Especially if you cast it right. And I am suddenly of the thought that this would be really good. Now, what kind of version of Deathstroke the Terminator would we get?
Yeah. Or Bane, for that matter.
Or Bane, let's get to Bane in a minute. Because Bane's a totally horse of a different color. So we never got our Joe Manganiello Deathstroke, which I think he would have been so good in it. He would have been so good in that role. But you know what the best Deathstroke we've ever actually had? From Arrow.
Yeah. Manu Bennett.
Yeah.
Manu Bennett was a fabulous Deathstroke. He was great. He was one of the best things that show ever did. I still remember Manu was actually my guest one year on my Masters of the Web panel. And it was funny because he was also the White Orc in the Hobbit films, and he had that one fantasy series on Netflix. Oh, that I'm forgetting. Guys in the live chat, if you remember the name of that fantasy series that's based on the fantasy books, throw it in the live chat because I'm forgetting what it was. But it was really kind of funny because Manu had agreed to come and be on, that's it, the Shannara Chronicles. That was it, is what he was in. So I really like him a lot. So he had agreed to come and be the special guest panel. This is while he was on Arrow. He'd agreed to come and be a panelist on my Masters of the Web panel at Comic-Con. And I think it was like 2 days before, he reaches out to me and says, I totally booked to come and I completely forgot to get a hotel. Do you have any rooms that can buy off you? Like that I could. And I said, well, no, but I think we got space at our place if you want to come just stay with us. He said, sure. So sure enough, the night before, I went down to the train station, picked him up, and he came and crashed at our place in San Diego for the night. And I had a blast. I had a blast hanging out with him for the day. He was wonderful. But anyway, I wouldn't be upset, not if he was the same Deathstroke from Arrow, but I wouldn't be upset if they went out and got Manu Bennett to come in and play it either. Again, it's probably going to be a complete new person. Again, though, we never did get Joe's version of it, which would have been pretty amazing. Then you move on to Bane. I mean, what do you do with Bane? I mean, you can't do a comic accurate version of Bane. That's just not possible. You can't do Bane that's comic accurate. Just can't. The closest you can get is what Tom Hardy did in The Dark Knight Returns, or The Dark Knight Rises, I should say. I think that's as best as you can do. But you need to get somebody who's hella big, but more importantly than that, who's really big and is a remarkable actor. If you're going to get somebody to play Bane and you just want him to be some hulking, stupid thing, like you want to make him actually the brilliant man, you got to get somebody who can really act, which is why it works so well with Tom Hardy. So I don't know, but I got to tell you, Rob, why do this movie to, okay, now I really want to see this movie. By the way, not a bad choice for the director. Wouldn't have been my top choice. Probably if you asked me to put together a total theoretical list of who could possibly direct it, probably not a name that I would have put down. But now that I hear it, it's actually not bad. Guys, we want to take a second and thank a sponsor of today's video, Hims. You know, one of the hardest things about trying to lose weight is just figuring out what actually works. Because we've seen them all. There are a million trends, diets, and gimmicks out there, and honestly, it can get overwhelming. And that's why weight loss by Hims really stands out. Hims now offers access to an affordable range of FDA-approved GLP-1 medications, including the Wegovy pill at its lowest price ever, and the Wegovy pen. With Wegovy at Hims, lose up to 20% or more of your body weight when combined with diet and exercise. It helps you regulate your appetite and eat less, so success is within reach. Plus, Wegovy is the first ever and only GLP-1 available in a pill for weight loss, so there are no needles needed. And the process is extremely convenient. Everything happens online. You connect with a licensed provider who determines if treatment is right for you, and if prescribed, your medication gets delivered right to your door. No insurance necessary. Ready to reach your goals? Visit hims.com/Campea to get a personalized, affordable plan that gets you. That's HIMS.com/Campea. hims.com/Campea. Based on advertised cash price for 30-day supply of medication only. Membership required, fee not included, and billed separately. Weight loss by Hims is not available in all 50 states. Wegovy is the registered trademark of Novo Nordisk A.S. To get started and learn more, including important safety information, Wegovy clinical study information, and restrictions, visit hims.com. Anyway, Rob, what are you taking away from this whole story?
Well, I love Deathstroke because I loved Marv Wolfman and George Perez's Teen Titans.
Right, which is where he really started.
Deathstroke, I love that, and would I like to see, and I like you, I wanted to see Joe Manganiello's Deathstroke. I'm intrigued by this idea, but I don't know what kind of, is it a team up? They were working together. I mean, at first glance, I'm not that excited about this, other than the fact I'd get to see Deathstroke on screen in a movie, but it's intriguing. I feel like, I do feel like, though, this is yet another side story of the larger DC universe where I'm much more interested in seeing, to be honest, where's our Batman movie? You know, I think it's neat, but we're getting a Clayface film, and now we're getting a Deathstroke Bane movie. And Clayface looks like a banger, so I can't complain. But I'm more interested in seeing characters that are more front and center to see what they're doing with those. But on the other hand, you know, they say they're not going to move forward without great scripts. So if there's a great script for this movie, then I want to see it, because I'm like, I'll watch that movie if there's a great script. And speaking of Greg Mottola, I do believe, I don't know if it's just in development, but they did announce a new Superbad movie today.
What? They did?
Yeah, I think it was in Deadline.
I missed it.
They're bringing back everybody. They're bringing back Jonah Hill and Christopher Mintz-Plasse and Michael Cera. And Michael Cera.
Wow, Christopher Mintz-Plasse, who was just in The Boys, by the way. Also, a guest of mine at Comic-Con for my Master of the Web, Christopher Mintz-Plasse. He was a good kid.
It all comes full circle.
Somebody was just mentioning Carl Urban for Deathstroke and Reacher.
Alan Ritchson.
Alan Ritchson for Bane.
I'd watch that.
You know what? Alan Ritchson for Bane. That's not a bad one.
But don't we kind of have him marked for someone else in the I forget.
Well, I mean, everybody wanted him as Batman. I thought
That's
he
right.
would have been a pretty good Batman.
But then
he's already kind of stated he's not going to be Batman, but that
Yeah.
he is going to be in the DC universe. Maybe
Well,
this is what he was talking
yeah.
about.
maybe.
Or hell, I'd even take Alan as a Deathstroke.
I was gonna say he could be the counter to Batman and as Deathstroke.
Carl Urban as Deathstroke also wouldn't be bad.
Someone said Jensen Ackles a little bit ago, but he seems a little short for a Deathstroke. I mean,
But
you could
you
always
know
fake
what?
that, but
Here's the thing about Jensen. Of course, from Supernatural fame. I look at him and, you know, when the first ideas came up about maybe him being Batman, I thought maybe a little bit short. But you know what? Watching him in The Boys as the world's greatest superhero,
He's
Soldier Boy, I never once think about his height.
no, and by the way, that is a feature film quality performance. He kills it in that role.
He is so good in that show. Listen, I already
So
thought The
good.
Boys was one of the best things on TV. Once he came into the show as Soldier Boy, it just elevated it.
Yeah, and the gravitas that he has is amazing.
Oh, it's so good. Actually, you know what? Correct me if I'm wrong in the live chat, but one of my favorite scenes of his ever, I believe, was actually in Gen V. When he was part of like a girl's dream, she was like having a hallucinated dream, and he talked about how, oh yeah, your best friend was dry humping a pillow, of thinking of me the whole, like, it was like one of the best comedic time, best line delivery scenes that he'd ever did, which I thought was, yeah, really, really great. Somebody in the live chat is saying Josh Brolin is Deathstroke.
but yeah, but we've already got him as Cable.
But that's in a different cinematic universe. I just think Josh Brolin might be too old to play Deathstroke at this
The
point.
Tooch.
The Tooch. Stanley Tucci as Deathstroke.
You know, Bane, I think you might be onto something there.
You know, Bane. By the way, I don't know why. I have no idea. Every once in a while, YouTube starts throwing me random clips from a particular movie. And it just recently started bringing up clips from The Core. And I totally
How come I don't
forgot
get
that
those?
Stanley Tucci was in The Core.
Dude, the Tooch.
The Tooch is everywhere. Alan Ritchson as Bane. I could also see it. I could also see him as Deathstroke. But if you had him as Deathstroke, who do you get as Bane? Oh, I know. You get the guy who played Paulie in Reacher. Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
That's who you get to play
Jeez.
Bane. The guy who played Paulie in Reacher. That's your answer right there.
Yeah.
Like
Or-
that is the most giant human being I've
Yeah.
ever seen. Like he's bigger than the mountain.
He's huge.
He's huge. And listen, I get it. I'm like everybody else too about how, well, you know, we haven't even gotten Batman yet, or we haven't gotten Wonder Woman yet. And all that is true. But if you're James Gunn and Peter Safran, and you are truly committed to our number one priority is putting out the best movies possible, and we don't feel like we have a Batman thing that is truly deserving of it and ready to go yet, but you have this other thing like a Clayface, and if it's a Deathstroke and Bane thing where we haven't greenlit the script yet, but we've seen the initial concept of it and we think it's great.
Yeah.
Look, at the end of the day, when I walk out of a movie theater, I'm not so worried. I'm not asking myself when I walk out, was that a movie about Batman? No, I'm asking myself, was that a great movie? And if you can deliver that, let's put it this way. I would much rather have a great Deathstroke and Bane movie than a pretty good Batman movie. So, I mean, if that's what they're going to get, then again, maybe Deathstroke and Bane will be terrible. I don't know. But let me ask you this, Rob. Right now, it's always been this way in Hollywood, but more today than almost ever before. A lot of movies get talked about that never actually get made. At the end of the day, do you think Deathstroke and Bane is a movie that actually gets done?
If you ask me right now, I would say no. I would say no only because, in a way, again, the script is going to have to be great. And I think that this kind of a pairing with two characters that have yet to be established in this new DC universe, you're going to put them together. I don't see that necessarily working. But then again, I didn't think that what I saw at CinemaCon, that Clayface trailer that they've now subsequently dropped, I was blown away by that trailer.
Yeah.
Now, that movie might not work. I don't know. But it speaks to what James Gunn was talking about. We're going to greenlight movies when they work.
Right.
And that Clayface trailer, I'm like, wow, that was really surprising to me. They clearly knew something that I didn't. And then hopefully Supergirl will bear out the fact that scripts work. But it'll be interesting. So we have Superman, Clayface, Supergirl, and Deathstroke and Bane. That's a wacky lineup.
Yeah, but listen, if I walk out of Clayface,
Yeah, I know.
super happy, then again, that's all I care about at the end of the day is give me great movies. And I mean, again, my thoughts on you haven't established these characters first thing. Well, they never established Tango and Cash before they made Tango
that's true.
and Cash.
That's true.
That's what this is. If this is the Tango and Cash of the DC universe, or Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid of the DC universe, bring it on. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? And not only does it look like this Deathstroke and Bane project is still alive, according to Deadline, it looks like they might starting to be circling on who their director would be. What do you think about this whole thing? Whatever your thoughts are, jump down into the comment section below and leave your thoughts there. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show Podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.